Oh, I got to plug that in. Okay. I don't know what that's playing through. It's all right. We'll figure it out. We're live. Is that? I can hear it. No, I can hear that. I don't know. Y'all let me know, man. Can y'all hear the beat? You guys hear like a little bit of a beat in the background? Just like a little something in the background? It says it's playing. I can hear it, but it's not playing how it normally does. So I don't know how that works. If it's going to like try to like listen to itself. I don't know. We're here, man. We're live. Day 2 of training camp is in the books. Another day that I was not at. Spoiler, I wasn't there today. Just the media, man. But I'm going to be there Saturday. I plan on being there Monday. So I'm pretty pumped up. Pretty fired up to see training camp, man. Get at it. Right from the get-go, as they say. So we can see what we're talking about here. Now, this probably will be a little bit of a shorter live stream. I'm going to be honest, but maybe not. Last one was a little bit shorter than I actually expected. And the player that we signed today, I haven't had much time to actually look at the player. I got home at like 9. So I was like, I got home and I was like, all right, I got to submit this homework because this thing's due at midnight. Let me do that first because a real part of me is like, just go live, man. Just go live. And then I was like, nah, I'm just gonna get this done. That way I don't have to worry about it afterwards. That's responsibility. It's taking responsibility. I don't know. All right. Anyways, though, you know what? We'll figure out the beats. We're here. I appreciate y'all being here. Campbell Mania, brother. My man Chrome's in the building. Waldorf Lion is in the building. What up, fellas? Same. Can barely hear the beats. Okay. Well, yeah, that's exactly how I'm getting it to. You can hear. Okay, so y'all can hear it. I just got to turn it up probably. Let's do this. Need some news. Let's do it then. Ben Foster's in the building. You finally caught a live. Man, I always catch the lives. I can't miss because you finally caught the live. Okay, no, that makes sense. Lansing Spartan's in the building. Let's do this. I already read that. What up, y'all? Sure do. Okay, I should not be going backwards here. I'm very confused. My new hot take is going to trigger some people. Okay, well, that's why it's a hot take, so I'm here for it. Let's get it. What up, dope, from John? How you doing, John? And then Tyson's in the building, and my man Tyson. As soon as I see Tyson, I know it's going to be a good show. I do. You met you. Yeah, that's on me, Ben. Hey, look, you know what? Real quick side note, one of our last Dodcast episodes, like last week, one of them, at the end, I was struggling. Like, I was struggling to read things. I didn't realize my sugar had dropped pretty low until after the show. And I was like, why was I like struggling to read anything? My sugar dropped. And I didn't know why, but I was like, I can't read. I could not comprehend the comments that we were looking at the end of the show. And looking back on that, I was like, whoa, I sounded crazy. Like, I really sounded like I legit could not read. Now, hey, some of the big words, they're a problem. But I couldn't read, dog. People were like, what is this? What's this dude on? My sugar was low, okay? I have an excuse for it. It's a legit excuse. Anyways, we're here, and look, man, it sounds like a lot of this. We got a lot of things that carried over from yesterday, which are positives. We also went live here. Just another quick side note. We also went live today on Bleacher Report at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I got a notification from YouTube right before I went live that I made the post. I've never had that before. So if you guys got a notification that I made a community post, let me know if anybody got one. I think that's pretty awesome. You'll probably have to be subscribed for that. I'm sure you all are. But I thought that was pretty cool. YouTube should start doing something like that. That's pretty awesome. Also, I don't think we have any really new clips. I didn't see anything outside of Hulk Hogan being there. So do we have new clips? Okay, no, we do have one new clip. And this was the Jameson Williams throwing the ball into the air. Okay, so we do have a clip. We're going to go and show that one on the screen. Let's just start there first. And then also, yes, we do have some news, as Hungry Panda just said, on David. I'm going to say Bada. I know it's wrong. David Bada from the German Football League. Possibly. I know that he is an international pathway player. He may be from the German Football League. I'm not exactly sure, but I know he does not count towards the roster because he is an international pathway player, but he has been in the NFL. He played in the preseason in 2020. He didn't play this past season, but he did participate in 2022's preseason with the Washington Commanders as a defensive tackle / nose tackle. So we will talk about him a little bit. I do have some clips to show. I just didn't do like as kind of deep as I like to go on some of these, even though it's not like a full deep dive. I like to look into them a little bit more than I did today, but it's fine. We have enough to kind of touch on the news at least, and then we can always revisit this if we have to. Heard Darius Fountain had a good day. Sounds like he's participating as wide receiver 5. You did not get a notification. Okay, Michael, let me know if you do. Arvin's in the building. I love the Patrick emoji. We shouted out your comment recently. So how you doing? Awesome to see you here. Yes, it sounds like he's participating as wide receiver 5 for the Lions in practice, which kind of goes on what we had heard on day one, that he was the guy that was standing out a little bit. But honestly, depending on what source you read from, and again, if you guys have news that I don't hit on here, throw it in the comment section. I want to hear it all. Okay, whatever source you gathered it from, let's hear it. I also heard that Caden Davis had a pretty nice day today as well. And it seems like, just depending on, maybe what play you caught, because it could be like really training camp, especially now, it could be 2 or 3 plays, maybe 1 to 3 plays that a guy makes. And that's what stands out from the day. So depending on which one like connects with you more, maybe you think this guy stood out versus this guy. Usually you don't have a guy just cooking everybody. I mean, maybe that's the case, but usually that's going to be noted, unless that's St. Brown. St. Brown pretty much catches everything. It's different though. But it sounds like, especially with the reserves, those guys get limited reps. Caden Davis also did really well today. Had a nice sideline grab, it sounds like, today. I'm a very big Caden Davis guy. I'm a believer that guy could actually make the team. But that being said, Fountain, as we touched on yesterday, with no Donovan Peoples-Jones, he was kind of stepping in to what sounded like a very similar role to what Peoples-Jones is going to play. And then today, when Donovan Peoples-Jones returned to practice, and even though he just got back, so maybe they're easing him into it, he's still wide receiver 5 above Donovan Peoples-Jones, at least according to the depth chart right now. So I'm curious. I mean, we're gonna find out. The play that I had heard, the specific play about Fountain, was that he had a big play today. And actually, let me go through my notes here. That way I don't miss it, because they're kind of all over the place. So we're going to get to it at some point. I heard that he had a big play today, and it does make sense. It was on Terrion Arnold, I believe. He got vertical on Terrion Arnold. And that makes sense because even from some of the clips that we showed yesterday, the guy can definitely get over top, definitely can go, definitely has an ability to stride and take the top off. That's something that he can absolutely do. Saw a video from you 3 years ago where you want to replace Stafford with Zach Wilson. Hungry Panda, that video does not exist. So let me delete that. If it's not already, let's flag that video. Let's make sure that's not a thing. It's funny though, like I'll randomly have like flashbacks of, not flashbacks, but like just like remembering the time when we would talk about, like, it was different then. It was way different. Just the whole process of me making videos, entirely different. Obviously you grow, you learn. That's the goal, right? You should grow and learn. But for me, like then, I can remember when I would post like videos. I think Trey Lance, when he was coming out, same draft class, Mac Wilson, Max Jones. Yeah, same draft class. When Trey Lance was coming out, and I can remember making a video on Trey Lance and then taking off. And I remember going to the gym to go play basketball and posting that video. And the process of me putting that video together was nothing like it is now. I mean, it's just nothing like it is now. But I remember putting that video together and like, you know what? When I got done, I was like, yeah, he could be pretty cool. He could be cool. Maybe he can develop into something there. Like, my stance was not very strong on anything. But the video, I'm like, that could be cool. And that's just how things were then, man. And that's okay. How about that guy, Mo Norris? Now, that's my man. I have heard nothing about him. That's the guy I'm looking for. That's the guy I'm looking for when I get to training camp personally. I have heard nothing of him, but I'm looking forward to, especially once the pad comes on, because I know he'll hit some people. And we're already hearing about guys like Enos Rakestraw. You're hearing about the energy getting ramped up. Manuel Mosley today, Derek Barnes, the energy was ramped up. They don't have pads on. He's going to fit in extremely well with that. Meek Robertson was back today. Before we get to the clip, the injury updates, I think we should hit on those first, at least from what we know. So Christian Mahogany, who we mentioned yesterday, was not at practice. They didn't know why. Today, Dan Campbell said it was because of illness and that he would be back, I think, hopefully soon. But he also was not there today. So second straight day with illness, not at practice, which, we'll have to really see. I'm assuming he's going to come in near the bottom once he gets back, then try to have to just work himself up. But he's going to be really interesting once you add him to the fold because of how much depth we actually have there. And the Detroit Lions, I didn't know this, but when they had released Matt and they went out and signed Beckner. Wait, that's not his name. Bettner? Hold up. I'm gonna have to Ike. Dude, I forgot the guy's name already. I don't know. We're going to have to go back to the depth chart. I forgot what his name was. But anyways, we signed our new guard. I didn't realize that Matt got let go because he had failed the physical. Apparently, that's what happened. I guess that makes sense. And that's why he was let go, and they went out and added another guard. So it could have been just that simple. But in terms of like injury news today, still no DJ Reader. Davenport and Branch did walkthroughs. Sounds like Brian Branch is like the starting safety, but then when they go to team drills, Iffy and Kirby Melifonwu, Iffy Melifonwu and Kirby Joseph handle the safety position, but he's getting reps as like the starting safety. We've talked about that a ton. I mean, we could talk about it again, but we've talked about that a ton, so I won't, go down that too much there. Outside of that, though, it sounds like, they're in a good spot health-wise. Like I said, Davenport, they're going through walkthroughs. They're around their individual team drills. And apparently he's working with kind of like the second unit, the second team, which when we did our kind of like our rough like position battles today, I put him like on the second team, depending on what position he plays. Because I don't even know exactly where I want to play him. But if he plays similar to like, I think the Josh Pascal type of role, if he does something like that, then I think he's probably on the second team behind a guy like Josh Pascal. We'll just have to see how that all shakes out. And the other side, Betger. Look at that. Y'all killing it. I missed it. Betger. Come on, man. Hey, see, this is the advantage, man. I do a video, and right there I stop. Like, how do I say his name? Now I got to stop the video, go figure out how to say the dude's name. I'm watching videos on how to pronounce his name. Instead of y'all just like, here, now y'all may tell me how to spell it or say it incorrectly. That happens. I know that happens, but it's better than me going up on Google, having to listen to videos of some lady try to say his name. And I'm like, I don't even know if this is how you say it. She's just saying it like that. So I'm going to say it like that. Y'all know what videos I'm talking about. Okay. I'm talking about those videos. It has a little, volume button. You click on it, just pronounces things. That's so, but okay. Yeah. Iffy Joseph. That does remind me though. Apparently today they flipped safeties. So with Brian Branch, today was actually going to be Iffy Melifanu with Brian Branch and not Kirby Joseph. So even though it feels like maybe, the leg up in that race early is probably Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch together, but today they flipped that apparently, and it was Iffy Melifanu who's going with Brian Branch on the first team reps before they got into the team drills, before your normal two safeties kind of took over, and I guess Branch kind of stepped out. How's Antoine Green looking? Like, I haven't really heard much from him. Did we talk about him a little bit yesterday? I don't think we had much from him yesterday either. I haven't gotten much from what Antoine Green looks like. When I go there, David, on Saturday and Monday, I plan to see, how that's going. And I try to watch as much as I can. So try to give any updates I can, even if it's just like, hey, I saw him catch a pass. I haven't really heard much. I think yesterday they said he had a drop, but I don't know. There's not much there for me right now. Okay. So yeah, I think we hit on all the kind of injury updates that we had to. Running backs. Oh, this is cool. So I read this today as well. So Jahmyr Gibbs being coached up by, I think this was Pride of Detroit. This said Jahmyr Gibbs was being coached up by Ben Johnson, going through receiver drills, and that after practice, the running backs hooked up with Amon-Ra St. Brown and ran routes with Amon-Ra St. Brown by his guidance. That if that's true, and they didn't expand on who that was, but I know that they said Jahmyr Gibbs. They just didn't expand on who that was. That's something that we kind of anticipated this offseason. We talked about that a ton, about the receiving ability there. But what I loved most about that was them saying that Ben Johnson was involved, because now it's more than just like, hey, we want to develop that skill set and the technical aspects of what we're looking for timing, because that's what our offense is built on and how to get open. But if that's with Ben Johnson, that's something that's going to be utilized in their offense. They're anticipating that's going to be a part of their offense. And I think, again, as much as we talk about receivers and there can be question marks and those things, like this kind of, to me, early on gives us like the signal that this is what it's going to look like. Like, these guys are going to be a real value in the passing game. You can almost consider them kind of like receivers. Like, Gibbs played receiver at times last season, but he didn't run like a complex route tree. He'd run like some crossing route or some over route. Like, there wasn't a ton that he was doing in those spots, but Vaki has an upside. Those two in particular, we know Craig was a receiver back in college, but he hasn't really done much of that with us. But those two guys in particular, that to me speaks to what the Lions' vision kind of is within this offense, where, it doesn't really matter like what label we put on the player. Who are the best that we can get on the field? What weapons can we get on the field? And can he catch the football? And for Goff, honestly, like, that's not a bad thing. If you told me you could have a really dynamic, you could have an elite route running back, and your offensive coordinator is willing to throw him the football, and he was a big part of your offense, or you could have a big time 6'4" wide receiver. And financially, you have to take the finances into account here. It is what it is. Like, that guy's going to get paid way more. I'd probably almost lean towards running back with Goff, knowing that it's Goff. Certain offense, I'd be like, go get the receiver. Hey, it's the Bengals, go get the receiver. It's the Bills, go get the receiver. For the Lions, I'm like, you know what? The elite route running back, if we're going to throw it to him and he's going to be a big part of this offense and he's just a matchup piece, and that's where Goff likes to go with the football, go with that guy. The ball's going to get out a lot quicker. He's going to get the ball in his hands fast. He's going to let him go to work after the catch. I got no problem with that. But this signifies that is truly going to be a big part of their offense, I think, early on. So that was just a cool note. And shout out to St. Brown. You don't really think about those things, right? We think about like just the results all the time, but not necessarily just like, hey, the value of having an elite route runner like St. Brown that just knows how to get open, understands leverage, plays with tons of route strength, all of these things, awesome hands. The value of having that and a guy that's willing to kind of like give his knowledge, a guy that's willing to stay after practice and like, yo, hey, you guys want some help with this? Like, let me pull you all along. Ben Johnson wants you, this is a part of the offense. Let me get you better. To have that guy in your room, that's why you pay him the money that you do. It's things like that, right? That's a fact. Cornerback Mosley at camp. Health, yeah. Cornerback Mosley is there. He was there yesterday. He started in the slot for us today. Amik Robertson returned. So did Carlton Davis, basically. It sounds like in team drills. So at cornerback, they went Terrion Arnold, Amik Robertson in the slot, and Carlton Davis was out wide with, like I said, Iffy and Kirby Joseph at safety. But it sounds like Emmanuel Mosley had a pass breakup today on Amon-Ra St. Brown, from what I was able to gather. So that's great. And, again, more so at the wide corner position now, but he's played both inside, outside now over the last couple of days for the Lions, showing that flexibility is huge. But even going back to that Bleacher Report stream, like Mosley was one of the guys that we put it out there specifically. Like you're talking about the guys that are really making their debut for his Lions. It's Hendon Hooker and it's Emmanuel Mosley. And sounds like a lot of good early things for Mosley. Secondary D-line is stacked. And that's crazy to think about. Like, the thing is you can truly have questions about the top end talent because we just don't know. They're rookies, right? Like, what is it really going to look like? What's Terrion and Enos really going to look like? Carlton, we know what he looks like as long as he's healthy. But when you think about where that depth is at, I think it's I think a lot of teams would take that. Like, if you told me, hey, you got down to cornerback 4 and it's Emmanuel Mosley's your cornerback 4. I'd be like, oh, that's pretty good. And then Khalil Dorsey and Kendall Vilder, who started for us last season. And then you get to guys like Stephen Gilmore and 2 guys that were just battling neck and neck, had excellent preseasons. And I even have clips of Stephen Gilmore if we want to show him for whatever reason. Like, when you get to that spot, you're like, this is actually kind of awesome. So the depth seemingly to me is amazing there. The top end talent, obviously we'll have to see where that's at, but the depth doesn't seem like it's going to be a question. It's not going to be difficult to find depth at cornerback, which it always can be. And I actually used this in a Bleacher Report stream. It's nuts to think that essentially the Lions used their first 3 draft picks on cornerback this year. They went from having invested a 7th round pick in Chase Lucas, a 2nd round pick in Brian Branch, who now might be more of a safety than anything, to in 1 year going 1st round corner, 2nd round corner, 3rd round, we're going to trade for a corner. Like, that is crazy, man. That's actually nuts to think about. And outside of that, I mean, they signed Cam Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley. Bates went 6 for 6, long 52, hit the right upright, but went in. That's it sounds like he was the only kicker actually kicking today, from what I gathered. The other one would have been Michael Badgley. Sounds like he had a really strong day today. Again, I think the kicker one's always weird. And just being honest, like whenever we do these kicker stuff, you start to think like, okay, this guy's probably leading the way. But then all of a sudden you're like, oh, they actually like this guy more. And you're kind of confused. It seems hard to separate these guys. I think Bates will separate easier just because of expectation, because of the deal, and also because of his leg. Like, he's just going to separate himself because of how far he can actually kick. But 6 for 6, great start. Someone needs to start. Maybe I should do this. We need to start like a tracker and just follow it. So right now we know Bates 6 for 6. Boom, mark that down. And just throughout the entire training camp, mark all these results every game or every day. And then we just see like who actually had a better percentage, like who kicked from where. Like if we had those stats by the time training camp ended, maybe we could look at it and be like, oh, we thought this guy was better, but actually this guy was better or was closer than we thought. And then all of a sudden it gets to a spot where it's like, well, maybe that's what the Lions are basing decisions on. There could be obviously a lot of things that we don't see, because they don't really usually kick that much in preseason games either. So there could be a lot of like evaluation that goes on that we don't even see. A lot of the evaluation could be before they got there and they kind of already have a sense of where they're going with it. I don't know. Point is, though, Jake Bates sounds like he had a good day. And the specific thing that he touched on that was key for me was when he talked about the operation feels good. And I always go back to what Jason Hansen said. He said that's the biggest difference between college and the NFL is the operation is so sound in the NFL. That's why you see accuracy numbers jump so high. So he talked about having to be consistent day in and day out. At kicker, you do. That's the challenge. But the operation feels good. So if that's something that he recognized, for whatever reason, that gives me a lot of confidence that this dude's going to be a dog. That is sweet, Denver. I'm rooting for Jake Bates. Sup, everybody. Just got done from getting banned from another Bucknut chat. It's funny triggering them. Oh, dang, the truth. You just going around cooking dudes, man. And you know what? This is the perfect time. I'll be honest with you. Sorry, any Ohio State fans, but honestly, like all the hype is Ohio State right now. I heard someone say that like it won't be Michigan this year, but just because that hype is so real, I could see how people would get upset with you coming in there being like, yo, hey, 3-0, last 3 of them things. Bates, plus we just won the chip, man. Dude, I would like to get like a replica trophy. I don't know. That'd be weird. Maybe not. I wanted to get a banner. I didn't get one of those. So side note, if anybody can find one, if y'all can find like a division title like banner where I can stick numbers on there, this is a crazy ask. It doesn't have to be massive, but like if y'all know where to get something like that, where you can like put like the years on there, that way I can keep updating it, bro, please send me that link somewhere. I will buy that. I'll give you a percentage of it for finding it. Like I want to find something like that. Okay. Bates is locked in. got locked in before home straight for Patterson again. Oh gosh. Okay. Little known fact about Antoine Green from UNC fan. His nickname Megatwan. Yes, sir. Megatwan. Yeah. Hey, shout out to you, Zoe. Appreciate you being here. I remember doing the I don't know if that's the first time we found that out or what, but I can remember when we did the Antoine Green breakdown, it was like Megatwan. I was like, is that real? This dude's nickname is Megatwan. I'm pretty sure I was like super shocked when I said it in the video. So it's a beautiful nickname. It's perfect for us. That may have been why they drafted him. E-Man might start over Enos this year. Emmanuel Mosley might start over Enos. Absolutely. I mean, I could see that. I could 100% see that, especially you can play inside and outside. He's proven it, man. If he's looking like he did, and you just forget the injuries, if he just looks like he did with San Fran, 100%, I wouldn't have an issue with it, to be honest with you. You know, depending on how he plays throughout the season. But the coming year, I wouldn't have a problem with it. And I'm a huge Enos fan. But you know, again, that's the long-term thing. What up, Dose? What up, Dose? What up, Billy? How you doing, Billy? This is awful news. Darion Kendrick right after Mekhi Blackman. Awful news, man. Bro, final cuts to the 53 is going to be brutal. It's absolutely going to be brutal. Let me make sure. Okay, now let's start hitting some of these notes that I had, and then we'll start showing some clips and stuff like that. I don't have a ton of clips, but we'll hit some here. Okay, other thing. Levi Onwuzurike. So we hear he's playing all over the defensive line, and part of the reason that he may have been mentioned as like he's on that John Kaminsky's a third string defensive end now is because Levi is also taking reps everywhere on the defensive line, like not just at defense tackle. He's also playing defensive end. Now they said one website said edge. I think another one said defensive end. Another website said clarified like 5 technique, 3 technique. I'm assuming, like, I don't know. Maybe they're just doing it like straight up like that. Like that's kind of like the base. Like maybe they're just doing that in practice. Is there more variety to it? Like I'm trying to envision it. It would make a ton of sense that they would utilize it because last year they did this where you would see guys like Pascal or John Kaminsky, right? If he's playing Kaminsky type of role where you play the 4-eye or even you may play a 3 tech. And because Broderick Martin's starting right now, right, he's getting the first team reps with Aleem McNeil. Aleem goes to the 3. You put Broderick at the 0, and then on the opposite side, you could put a guy, you know, like Levi, you know, from the 3 all the way to the 7. You know, you can move him in any of those spots. Maybe not as far as the 7, but you know, probably for Levi a little bit closer to the 5 at widest. But you could do those things with him. That way, you could put Hutch on the opposite side, let him play the 9 technique, and let him just go. But something like that, or maybe even the 5 still. But something like that is pretty interesting that they're moving Levi around. If you think about it, it's pretty intriguing, man, because like Levi, again, if he's going to lean into, and this goes back to what we talked, if he's going to lean into like physicality, I'm going to win with that explosiveness. If he's going back into that and leaning into that, you could see success from him playing the Kaminsky and that Pascal role where it's like, hey, we want you to collapse the pocket. He could collapse the pocket. It's not like they're asking those guys to shake on the edge. Like that's where Derek Barnes and James Houston rushing comes from. But when those guys are in the spots, they want just pocket collapsers, pocket pushers. Levi could do that. Like I could see a world in which Levi could do that. He still gets off the line with good explosiveness. He's a problem in a lot of his power pass rush moves, more so than speed pass rush moves, what we've seen recently. I think it's interesting. And then obviously, you know, stopping the run from those spots in some ways, could it minimize some of his issues that they may feel like they have in those spots potentially? Can he move laterally? If he's moving laterally well enough, they could feel fine with it. And then maybe it can minimize some of their problems that they feel like he could have if they put him out more on the edge versus double teams and things like that. Because now he's just handling a tackle one-on-one. Maybe they say he can lean him to more of the leverage game against the run there and just kind of leverage offensive tackles. That's what Josh Pascal is built on. So I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated to see what that's actually going to look like. And Hungry Panda says right here, honestly, Dan Campbell not making the 53 after seeing those up downs today. He did them again. See, Dan Campbell got to know, like certain days you got to take a break. You know what I mean? Like there's certain times, hey, you hit yours, like we got the video. Let's try again next week. You know, you did your thing. Let's try again next week. I think an ad just hit. I'm going to be honest with y'all. If an ad just hit, we're kind of going to not go too far into the next topic because I think YouTube just told me something it did. So I'm just going to kind of chill here for a second, read some comments. Broderick looks like a beast this year. He's changed his body composition considerably. That's awesome. That's because really that shows buy-in. You know, if it's not just like, hey, he's lifting weights, like you should be lifting weights, dude. You're an NFL athlete. But if you're like, I'm docked into my diet, there's like a certain spot that I want to get to. This is where they want me at. Like for me, diet's way more difficult personally than it is to go lift weights. Like you can lift weights, but hey, I'm working on cardio. Like that's the challenge. And that shows buy-in. Like if that's what you're looking for, if that's what they want out of you. I mean, if you think about the two things that Aaron Glenn brought up last year with Broderick Martin and the two issues that he had, which was like the midpoint of the season, was he said lateral agility we need to have, which would go back to changing his body. And the second thing, which he said was hand usage. And what Dan Campbell told us, what did he tell us today about what the defensive line coach impact has been? The way we strike guys at the point of attack, the way we're shedding guys. So honestly, in a perfect world, the two biggest issues that Aaron Glenn had, maybe he's cleaning those up. Maybe he is. Betts might not make the team. He may not. I mean, what's up, Shane? How you doing? Honestly, right now, unless y'all have heard something, like it sounded, I hadn't heard anything of really what either of them did today. I don't know what they did today. They said today that he was getting second team reps over James Houston as the Sam backer today. They basically flipped. I heard that James Houston had a nice win on Giovanni Manu. Then he got held up on a block and he didn't get off into the tackle, which is obviously going to be one of his, biggest challenges. Just didn't really hear much outside of that. I guess maybe neither of them really stood out. But there's a clear battle there for that role. And that's where it's at, right? Derek Barnes is going to make the team. That's where the battle is. But I don't see James Houston honestly going anywhere either, because it's like Dan Campbell also said today, like sub-package DN. Like he's still, again, I say this all the time, but there's such a value that he adds because the guy can rush outside of the tackle. And we love the guys that can collapse the pocket and win for the interior. But a guy that can rush outside the tackle, he's unique, and he does that at a different level than I think pretty much anybody not named Aiden Hutchinson. So I like Matthew Betts because he can add some of the Davenport element, I think, back to the game for us. But I'm still bought it. I still think Matthew Betts can make the team. He's definitely on, we're not sure. I want to see him first. But if I was betting right now, I would bet he does make the team. And that might be a hot take. I don't even know. Should I draft J-Mo third round in fantasy? I'm not the guy to ask for fantasy. Chat, he's talking to y'all. I'm really not the guy. Truly, I would have taken third round. From what I remember when we did our mock, he fell way further than third round. Third round feels super high. So I would stay away from that personally. I think third round feels high though. Unless I'm crazy. J-Mo's a first round pick. Okay, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you know what? Hey, y'all do you, man. I'm not the guy to ask. I'm trash at fantasy. It was Broderick. Keep standing up. You don't stay down. And it's naturally, and to me, like, but to that, it's like when he would attempt to stay down, it was then losing other aspects of his game, right? So it was like, okay, even if he wants to sit down, and there were times against the Raiders in his first game, he would sit down. He handled some double teams. You saw some knee bend in his game. It's like, all right, that's good. But then there would be the elements where he would, get up one-on-one of the block, and here comes a combo block, and then he wouldn't sit himself down. Or there was like flash reps and pass rush. It was such a limited sample size where he would just stand directly straight up instead of like playing forward and upfield, like we saw he was capable of at Western Kentucky. We saw it in the Shrine Bowl. He was very capable of getting upfield on guys. So it was just inconsistencies for me there. And then it was being able to maintain kind of like the lateral movement, lateral agility, like Aaron Glenn said, while also being able to stay lower, like to be able to maintain some bend. Okay, you can't just stand straight up and then turn and run. Like, we need to stay square to the line of scrimmage. So that's the challenge, I think, for him, is being able to balance those two things together. Looking back at the notes here, what else do we have? So we talked about the back end a little bit. James Houston, as Dan Campbell said, the guy is definitely in shape playing that sandbacker position. As we touched on, Caden Davis, I always have clips for Caden Davis, but he had a nice grab apparently on the right sideline. He also had a grab in 7-on-7, which, if you don't know, is just basically just no offensive lineman. He snapped the ball. It's 7-on-7, defense, offense, that kind of thing. And there's no pads on at this point. It sounds like Goff is also still doing his thing. JG off to a hot start. And that was the play. It was the 30-yard completion, 30-plus yard completion to Fountain, which is wide receiver 5, which means he's going against the guy that was getting starting reps in Terrion Arnold, which, keep in mind, sometimes they do that. They don't always play ones versus ones. They'll do a lot of like 2 versus 1s. But 30-yard completion plus yard completion on Terrion Arnold. And first off, getting vertical on Terrion is not going to be easy. But secondly, I almost want to really believe that was probably a double move. I don't know what coverage in or anything like that, but I kind of want to believe that was probably a double move just because Fountain can really separate in those spots. And that's something he does bring, is the ability to take the top off. And speaking of taking the top off, I don't know if this is a taking the top off type of play, but I haven't seen this really yet at all. So I want to check this out. Apparently just Jameson Williams again. This was the play where he threw the ball, I guess, for the second straight day, I think. So, I mean, look at this. This is a nice grab, man. This is a nice grab. He's skying in the air. He showed us this last year too, kind of that toughness, like the willingness to just go up in the air and take the ball out of the air. He showed us that toughness last season. So you see the body control there. Quick tuck. I like that. Kind of just went down. Is this where he throws it? Yep. Okay. So that's where he was fired up. So who is covering him here? 23. Is that, who would it be 20? Is that Rakestraw? No, that's Carlton. Carlton's 23. Carlton's 23. Hold up. Chat. Wait a minute. That's Carlton Davis. Nah. That's Carlton Davis. This is gonna drive me nuts. Yeah, that's Carlton. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to get that right. I'm like, that's got to be Carlton. It's Carlton Davis. I don't even know if he's in man coverage though here. I can't. It doesn't look like he's even in man. But anyways, that's Carlton Davis there. That apparently he made that. He got separation. That's for sure. He's definitely open. If it was man coverage, dude was definitely open, and the ball was high. So guessing to get over the linebacker, Jack Campbell. See, that's Jack Campbell's height, bro. That dude's massive. So you put it up a little bit higher in the air here. Okay, I like it. How long is this clip though? This is a long clip for one reception. There's got to be more here. No, he's just mad. Okay, it's just the anger walk back. Oh. Okay, some crap talk. We see you. Okay, yeah, he's feeling himself. He's feeling himself, man. Hey, Jameson Williams feeling himself. I ain't mad at it. Hey, you got to have that swag. You got some swagger going on. I think receivers got to have swagger, man. It's kind of like a cornerback. Like, you got to be level-headed, but you also have to have some swagger. Like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to beat this guy lined up, especially if you just beat Carlton Davis. Like, I'd have some swagger, too. I'd be fired up, too. Like, yo, I just beat Carlton Davis. That dude's a dog. I mean, especially if you know the history. Carlton Davis last season against JMO, he handled his business. Now, he didn't see JMO a ton, but the first game against us, he played well in Tampa Bay against St. Brown a lot of times. And then the second time, it was that deep shot they tried to take to Jameson Williams on kind of like the little double move setup. And Carlton Davis, he didn't end up catching the football. He didn't track it over his shoulder. So, they're also, there could be some of that too, man. Like, hey, last season, Carlton did his thing, man. And it was like, yo, JMO, you were right there to make the play. So I'm not mad. At least he's showing some of that swagger there. Okay. Anyways, let's continue. Let me get this back. JMO burnt Davis last playoff game in Tampa. The one that he dropped. I don't know. We may be talking about two different plays here. You'll have to show me. Because that one I didn't think he was burnt. Actually, if anything, I thought Carlton did a nice job recovering, getting back in. Because JMO can run now. Like, perspective, JMO can go, but we may be talking about two different plays. That's fair. Okay, what else we have? Okay, so Nate Sudfeld was now with the second team today, not Hendon Hooker. So it seems like they're just flipping, at least early, they're flipping those two. And he had some nice completions, apparently, to Maurice Alexander, Peoples-Jones. Side note, I guess on the kickoff team, the four that were rotating on kickoff team, because there's two kick returners, were Khalif Raymond, Maurice Alexander, Jameson Williams, St. Brown. Part of me doesn't believe that any of those guys will be kick returners. Maybe Khalif. If Maurice Alexander made the team, he could be, probably in preseason, but he has to make the team. So part of me believes that there's a real chance that none of these guys are actually kick returners. Maybe outside of Khalif, it makes sense that he would be. But I don't think that means anything. Like, I read that, I'm like, okay, that list doesn't seem to mean a ton there. But anyways, that's what the list was. We talked about Derek Barnes a little bit here. Khalif apparently had a big play today, 25 yards on the screen. Khalif Raymond, man. And you know what I liked about that was it was allowing him to work on a screen, like allowing, Khalif Raymond to do some things after the catch. Like Carlton, he gets open, but it always feels like a lot of times like, yo, why don't we throw Khalif a screen? Like, we know he's going to block, but like Khalif, I would be a handful to tackle that guy. And he's such a dynamic punt returner in terms of like, he's not always the most flashy, but he's going to go forward. He's going to find the run lane quickly and he gets up the speed very fast. That's cool. I like that little note there because we don't really get kind of notes like that a ton. So, yeah, the Jameson Williams grab, and then he threw the ball. Okay, so that was that play right there. Okay, that was cool. Nothing super fancy there, but that was cool. We didn't have a ton of notes today, so let's actually move on to – here we go. Let's move on to the defensive – the offensive lineman. Sorry. Wait, no, the defensive lineman that we signed. Let's move on to that. I won't spend much time here. I didn't watch as much of him as I usually do. If Hooker doesn't earn second string, I'd be shocked. No, yeah, I agree. He'll win second team. Name every backup O-line making the 53. We got to do a 53 again. We're going to do that like midway through August. I think right now my guess right now would be backup offensive line to make the team. I'm really not sure if Michael Neese does because he has such a heavy guard background. He played center a little bit with Tampa Bay. I have some clips for that too. And, certain things look fine. Pass pro, I think he's pretty balanced there. Like, you could get solid pass protection. He's got some awareness and he's got a lot of versatility, like, zone, gap ski. Like, we can do some things versatility wise with this game, but he doesn't have a lot of leg drive in his game. You don't see a lot of that. He's also a little bit upright, not upright, but he plays with like a nice wide base, but he's just a little bit taller. He's not as quick, I don't think, always for center. So I wonder about him a little bit, even though he's our backup center now. I wonder a little bit if that's potentially something that someone could take. So I think right now, Colby Sorsel makes it. I think Dan Skipper makes it. But even the side note to that is, like, again, none of these guys are locked in. So the competition's still there. But I'm going to say I think both those guys make it. I think Kayode makes it. Mahogany makes it, and Manu makes it. Wait, what did I say? No, that's too many. So we have Colby. Yeah, I'm going to put Colby in. I'm going to put Skipper in for now. Do I want to go KO? I don't know if I want to go KO. Let's take KO'd out. We got Colby. We got Skipper. Let's throw Nice in there because we got to have a center. We got to have someone that I mean, Graham can play center, but out of those guys, the only guy now that's going to play center is Nice. So I'm going to put Nice in there. Unless one of the UDFAs could take it. Maybe maybe Ike can do it. I don't think so. I like Ike, actually. So we'll go right there. And then Colby, Skipper, Nice, and then I'll go with the 2 rookies. We'll go 10. We'll go 10. We'll go heavy on the offensive line. We're going heavy on the offensive line, man. We got to do what we got to do. We got to do what we got to do, man. Anyways, let me show some clips of this guy. 8-7. Okay, I see some numbers. NFC falling apart. Cowgirls and San Fran don't want to pay their players. San Fran's just falling apart in general. They're going to fall apart, man. I'm telling you, San Fran is going to fall apart. It's just they're going to. You know what I mean? They're getting older as a team. The way that they're built, it's just going to fall apart. They're going to. Cowboys, bro. Cowboys ain't even a threat. Like, let's be real, dog. You're not wrong, but Cowboys ain't a threat. You know what I mean? Cowboys, I ain't worried about that. I ain't worried about no Cowboys, dude. Like, bro, the only team that's worried about the Cowboys is the Cowboys, if we're being honest, man. They're like, yo, we have signed nobody. I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea what they're doing. I wouldn't sign Dak either, though, so I can honestly understand that. Anyways, so I'm worried about the Packers. I'm more worried about the Bears. I ain't worried about the Packers. I'm more worried about the Bears. Okay, let's 20% team gonna be a lot. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. You know what I mean? Hey, but here's the only thing. I would rather us overextend it keeping offensive linemen than saying let's keep an extra spot for I'm a 6th receiver or something like that. Because I feel like I can get one of these guys back on the practice squad between Caden Davis, Fountain, one of these Isaiah Williams. Like, I'm gonna be able to get somebody back on the practice squad. And I would rather go lighter at a position like that to know that I can pull somebody off of that than offensive line, where it can be very tricky during the season to find those guys. I'd rather keep mine around, and I don't trust either of those draft picks are going to. I mean, you can't do that. Those guys have to be in. Is that why San Fran talking smack in podcast and BR? They talking smack? See, I didn't even know that, but if they are, they're crazy. I'm here for the smoke. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here for it. Rams are a little scary. Rams are good, man. They score a ton of points straight. They just score a lot of points. They lost Aaron Donald, though, which is tough. But they invested back in their secondary. They got some vets. They just score a ton. 10 O-line, 10 D-line is average. It feels high. I feel like we haven't kept 10 the last couple of years. But, you got to do what you got to do. I'm okay with doing that. So the Lions signed. We won't spend much time here. We can revisit this one. But this is David Bada. I'm guessing on how you say his last name, but this is the international pathway player. Don't have a ton of clips. He's 29 years old, 6'4", 293. That's what PFF listed him at. I'm sure that's not the official measurements. Seems to have some pretty nice length. Also seems to carry some lower body control, some agility to work through traffic. He seems to have a little bit of that. Here you see him. He's big number 64. I'm going to try to circle him here. And you can see some of the get off there in terms of, really, to me, it's the ground that he was able to cover off the line of scrimmage. Didn't seem to have a ton of variety in terms of like finesse and ways to win as a pass rusher. And he didn't show a lot of slipperiness in terms of ways to win. He almost plays a little bit more like your nose tackle would, a pocket pusher that keeps his feet running through the play, plays with vision on the quarterback, kind of locks himself out. Then he does as more like your defensive tackle that you want to get one-on-one. But he's built more like the defense tackle, specifically in the lower body. He's not as like seemingly thick in the lower body to just hold his ground. It seems like as the play goes on, his base kind of gives up. You can see some of the reactive athleticism there. Here you can see some of the push. He definitely has some real force in the upper body from the torso, real strength, the upper body, real length to lock out. And then here kind of just working his way through traffic with the vision on the quarterback. Here against Ravens, you see, good timing, good depth that he gets here, playing half of the man, working on this left guard, trying to drive back half the man here, being able to kind of collapse the pocket through that, just the consistent leg drive. I didn't see a ton of variety. Also haven't watched a ton. Here you can see sitting down that double team. And you can see right here, he seems to try to kind of stick a little bit low when he gets upfield, and he shows flashes of being better at really attacking upfield. But you can see in the base, maybe not the best footwork, but also just not really built with that foundation to consistently be great against double teams, it seems like. So you're going to want him upfield. But I think when you also look at where maybe they feel like they can fix some of those things, because he's definitely built pretty well. Like proportionately, he looks like he's built really strong throughout the body. It's just in the lower body looks a little bit slimmer. I do think this makes sense though, because when I was going and preparing for my Bleacher Report stream today, and we had the defensive tackle, I was going to go through defensive tackle, and I started looking at the names. Like, we are kind of light here. Like we just in terms of body, like without DJ Reader, it's not a bad thing because Levi's playing everywhere, and if you had to, you could put Wingo inside. Like we're not going to need all of these guys. And then you have guys still like Chris Smith out of Notre Dame who's still sticking around here. And then you go to the Kyle Pecos, you got the vet, you got Martin starting, but that's pretty much it. Like it's still relatively light compared to some other positions like tight end where you have like 6 guys and offensive line where you have like 100. So it makes sense that they would like, okay, what position we could just add a little bit more, maybe someone that would like that's played in the NFL. Maybe there were certain games that stood out to them. Maybe it's just his play style that they like and the way that he's built a little bit. And they're like, all right, let's go sign that guy. Let's add some depth there because he's played nose tackle and he's played defensive tackle. And you can see him here chasing down the quarterback. You see the leg drive throughout. He's almost built like Chris Smith, just a lot taller. It's almost what he looks like. He looks like Chris Smith, but a lot taller. There he is working through some traffic. You see the footwork there. There's some kind of the initial knockback. He played with some real knockback initially behind the line of scrimmage. It just wouldn't sustain throughout the play. So I don't know. It's interesting. We can dive into that one more for sure a little bit later. But, it's an international pathway player, which means that he won't count against the 53-man roster or the 90-man roster, I should say. And we did this before with Max Percher. So the Lions have definitely dabbled in bringing in players like this. If anything, it's probably going to turn into hopefully a practice squad player for them that they can kind of keep around. Maybe if they needed him at some point, but he's 29 years old, so it's not like he's super young either. So I don't know if they feel like there's some juice there. There could be. It's like the offensive line we saw. There's some good things in there, so maybe they feel like there's some juice. But we can definitely use depth. We could definitely use a camp body depth. I mean, that simply makes a ton of sense. Like if you're just like we just want depth, I get that. I don't want to limit him to that, but it definitely makes sense. So yeah, that's the new addition for the Lions. Also, I heard, and there was like I think this was actually Pride of Detroit. Shout out to them. This was cool. They put like side notes. One of their side notes was that Ben Niemann was playing the green dot for the third team today. And if there's an opportunity to talk a little bit about Ben Niemann, I feel like we have to take advantage of that opportunity to talk a little bit about Ben Niemann. Like we did, Ben Niemann was fun because we actually did like a sort of a breakdown video on live stream. And I normally don't do things like that, but we kind of did for Ben Niemann. And I can remember we went through and we talked about how smart he was as a player, how he just constantly was where he was supposed to be. So hearing that makes a ton of sense. Like if you told me that guy can play, in the NFL, he's NFL ready, basically. I would say that makes a lot of sense. I believe that. Let me also here, 1 second, my bad. I got 2 things going on. See, this is what happens when you get dual monitors, man. You just get all over the place. Is this the right video? That looks like the right video. Yeah, this is the right video. Okay, here. I'm going to put it on the screen. Just because why not? We'll talk about it a little bit. And chat, keep throwing stuff in the chat, man. If y'all have seen other news, man, that I haven't seen, let me know. Let's talk about it. I do plan on being there Saturday and Monday now. Shout out to my man, Everything King. So that's going to be fire. But yeah, just throw some Ben Niemann clips in the background right here, the linebacker. And that's really what I took away. Like, okay, you had a veteran, you had a smart player, good depth and coverage, and you see it like this. And we actually talked a little bit more about Jack Campbell and Brian Branch again today. I can't get enough of it. Like, I love talking about that. Reliability and tackling in open space, those kind of things. You can see some of the movement skills. And I think you see a lot of similarities just in terms of lower body control that pops up in terms of similarities. Like, you see the communication there. Like, those are things that you love, the traits about, like, Jack Campbell. You'll see some things like that from Ben Niemann. So I just thought that was cool that they gave him some shine today when he talked about, like, hey, handle the green dot. And for a guy that's a first-year player to be doing that with the third team, that's pretty awesome. It means that they feel pretty comfortable with where he's already at as player. I would believe that that's how they already feel like that. And you can see zone coverage is something that he's definitely successful at. So when you think about some of those routes where it's like, hey, you have, a certain rules, like, hey, if he goes vertical, pass it off. If the 3 goes, maybe you carry, that kind of thing. Usually that's not the case. But when you have those rules and a guy that understands it, he seems to kind of have that. So Ben Niemann, shout out to him. Okay, let's get back to the chat here. Is Ben going to take Rodrigo linebacker spot? Rodrigo fullback now? I don't know. I'm curious about this because, I mean, I don't think you run fullback enough for him just to be a fullback, so I don't think so. But the thing that's interesting to me about that is we did the Parker Hesse. We talked about Parker Hesse. We talked about Sean McEwen. And I think both those guys, like Sean McEwen played with Dallas fullback and Parker Hesse played tight end with Arizona, but he's built to play a fullback at 260. He's like, looks like a fullback. So I think in no longer committed to being here, I think we got multiple guys and it feels like maybe you're going to have to show that you have flexibility somewhere. So Malcolm, obviously his flexibility to me is that he plays on defense and he's awesome on special teams. So Malcolm's not going anywhere. Plus he's on his rookie deal. But for those guys, it's like, hey, the flexibility has to be, maybe you can give us some at tight end because you guys remember, like there was times last year. Did he catch a touchdown for us? I don't remember exactly. I feel like he caught a touchdown. No, did we throw it to him in the end zone? We had a tight end last season because of the injuries that popped up, and his name is slipping my mind right now. Let me look it up real quick. I remember we had the tight end last season that played. I mean, he may have only played that one game, but that might be where they have to feel about a guy like Sean or Parker Hesse to make sure that to also want to keep them for fullback. I would still struggle to see them actually making the roster, but at least maybe on practice squad, they could bring them back. And as long as no one takes them, of course, and then certain games where they want to utilize that, they could elevate them. Maybe when they run out of that, they could just say, we're just going to roll with Malcolm Rodriguez. But who is that tight end last season that had that? I'm pretty sure we had one that had a reception last season that like did he not have a reception? Maybe it was just his target. I don't know who it was. Okay. I don't know who it was. I don't remember. Okay. Okay. And then, what else do we have here? Forced fumble by Enos Rakestraw on Zonovan Knight apparently today. So again, we know that's what Rakestraw is going to do. That's where he's going to make his early impression, is just the way that he plays the game. He's going to make a very early impression just like that. So yeah, I mean, that makes a ton of sense. Like, you hear these notes and all these just are like, okay, I definitely would have expected that. But I think this wide receiver depth battle is definitely what's heating up right now. There is a lot of Stafford talk, and I'm missing a ton of it. Every quarterback gave us problems last year. You're not wrong about that. I don't know if there was anybody that we really like that we gave problems. I mean, was there? We had some good games. We had some good games, man. I don't know. Top of my head, we didn't have many good games defensively, but that's okay. Well, yeah, I mean, like, we didn't have, all terrible games. If James Houston moves to linebacker due to the logjam at DN, Rodrigo is done for. I think they're both going to make the team because they don't play the same role. Like to me, James Houston's still a linebacker. James Houston is a linebacker, but I see what you're saying because James Houston, because of the logjam at DN, basically, like, and that's his sub package role. But I think James is a lock to make it. Like, if I was betting, I'd say James is a lock. I don't think he goes anywhere. And I think that they're going to say I think that what they're going to do is he's going to make the team. They're going to call him the backup Sam Backer to Derek Barnes and the sub package pass rusher. And then it's really going to be whether or not Matthew Betts can get in. And I don't think Malcolm Rodriguez is going anywhere either because rookie deal, they trust him to play linebacker spots. They put him in the game, of course, against San Fran, and he's awesome on special teams. Like, that alone, the Lions keep around guys like that. Plus, if they have any vision of him being able to play fullback, I don't think he goes anywhere. But yeah, I do think that for sure. I think for sure James Houston is a lock. Only good games was Falcons. We did do well against the Falcons. Carolina was pretty good too. Carolina's pretty good if I remember too. Held them to 6. Bucks was good. Bucks was really good. We had that early interception. I think was that Will Harris that picked it off. Bucks was really good. Hey, let's give him some credit now. The in the half and out of half was a problem. Outside of that was really good. In the half out of half was a problem. But that's football too. I mean, that is football today. Like, teams score points. I mean, the average in the league had to be like 23 points a game last season. So we can still hold to that. Like, if I would assume if we went to the NFL offensive stats from last season and we took the team that was 16th in scoring, even though this isn't necessarily the average, the team that finished average in terms of points per game, I would assume they were about 23 a game. 16, a little bit less, 21.5 points per game. That was Cincinnati. So, Kansas City was actually right there too. So 21.5 points per game is average. So, as stuff falls off the back. What was that actually? Oh, it was my lip. See, I got Barry on top of Barry right here. It's a good combination. Stafford didn't lose that game through random flag. Lions to lose. Okay, I don't know what play we're talking about. I see y'all though. Y'all are going at it. Got a pick off Purdy and a chip. Boy, is dang. That was a nice pick. I mean, honestly, bro, Jack Campbell could have had that pick too. I feel like he wasn't in the right zone to go get it. But that ball, I don't think it was it tipped in the air? Like, it was. I mean, it was like easy to intercept. Actually, if we pull that play up, I think the ball may have been tipped because I watched this a couple of days ago. Like, the ball was like just floating in the air. It like floated right to him. I think, unless I'm wrong, maybe he did just step into it for whatever reason. It was not open. That's what I remember. It was not open. He basically just threw the ball right to him. But you're right. Like, he showed up in a big game for them. And honestly, the fact that they kind of started to pull back his linebacker role, I don't know if it was like a super big surprise, but it also was still like, well, the guy can still play he can still play linebacker. It's not like he was terrible at linebacker, so they had to move off him. Like, I never felt that way. So let me see though, because this is. See, now I want to refresh my my memory before we move on. I want to see what that interception looked like. Here it is. Okay, yeah, he got hit as he threw it. It was a nice pick. Oh, no, it wasn't Jack Campbell. It was Alex Anzalone who could have had the interception. He looked like Jack Campbell on the interception. That's what it was. Because, yeah, like this one honestly could have been picked by anybody, right? Like the pod collapsed. He kind of just like floated it out there. I mean, this is not open. It was a good play, though. Heck, that's still an athletic play. Like, it feels like that was not going to be caught. But, yeah, no, that was an athletic play. I didn't give him enough credit for that. It was an athletic play. Gave us zero problems due to his pick sixes. Yeah. I mean, look, man, the Vikings know what they're doing offensively. They make it work. It's kind of like Cincinnati in a weird way. As long as we boo his kids again, Stafford's cool. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Y'all crazy, man. Good morning. Football's back Monday. I'm hyped. That's your show, Peanut. You Rams fans act like y'all won last game. Oh, is there a Rams fan in here? See, that's what I miss. Oh, AI Joe Biden is a Rams fan. Goff had a bottom of league defense last season too. And went for. Oh no, he ain't. I don't know who's a Rams fan here. Are y'all artificially making up a Rams fan? Like unless he's just not in my chat, like straight up. I don't know who y'all are talking to, man. Y'all need to let me know. I feel like y'all are arguing without a Rams fan being here. You're talking to a Rams fan that's not here. I like the Rams too, though. I think they'll be a good team. I wish I could go to week 1, but tickets are crazy. I think Blake Corum's going to be crazy this season. I think he's going to take over as running back 1 this season. But I am very alone on that take, Mike. When I made that statement, you're like, what? I don't know. I could be wrong. The dude who is glazing Stafford. Well, Stafford's a dog. Stafford's a dog, man. I ain't got no, Stafford's a dog. Nah, just guys glazing Rams. Okay, I'm confused. Stafford, Slappy. Wait. Worry about Arnold getting burned 2 days in a row? No, because I didn't see it. And yesterday, I don't think he got burned yesterday, right? Like what was yesterday? Yesterday was are you talking about the Twitter clip? Let's go back to that real quick because I don't really remember how that went down. But let's check that one out because today, what did Terran Arnold got burned on what? He apparently got beat on a big play by Doris Fountain on a 30-yard play. I really strongly believe that was probably a double move. Like I can't help but kind of believe that's probably what it was. Maybe not though. So then this was the play you're talking about from yesterday that we did get to see, which was this. Yeah, this I wouldn't put that on Terran Arnold. Like I said, I don't know what covers you're in. I would assume they're in some kind of like cover 4. And he probably had passed off. Maybe it was slow, but he probably had passed off. And it's actually a tough concept. Even for cover 3, this is tough because if you're running like what it looks like, if you're running kind of like a mesh look where you have the dig and then the post, if your timing's accurate there, it's going to be nearly impossible to pass this thing off unless your one-on-one coverage actually handles it, right? Because if he runs this dig and the safety dives, say in cover 3, the free safety, because the timing is there and the quarterback looks there and then he hits the post over top, you're asking the backside cornerback to be able to stick with him over top and he's just running the entire field. Then it's on the backside cornerback to then drop off his assignment and go find it. But he has to be able to do that while also dealing with the dig until it gets to that break point. So if timing's on point, when you have a guy, this is why JMO's such a weapon, because when JMO can break that and go and the way he strides out of it, it makes it very difficult for anybody to actually make up ground in those spots. So I think this was quarters more so, and he probably passed it off, and that's probably why you had one safety here, and the other safety probably dove down, and that's why he was out late. But Terran Arnold is also not the fastest guy. Like, makeup speed is definitely not his biggest strength. I think we even said that in his thing. But that being said, too, I think that also would cause some perspective to, like, how did Terran get beat today by Fountain? Maybe he made a nice play. Maybe he made a contested grab. We know he has great ball skills. Arnold does. Maybe it was zone like this again and something like went down. Like, I'm not worried. That's what I'm trying to say. But I do think, we can add some context because we could see this clip so we could take a look at it. But I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at the question being brought up. People actually think Arnold's going to be Sauce, first team All-Pro. Give him a year or two. No, he will be. He will be streams only. He is Sauce Arnold, Sauce Gardner. He's actually his brother and stuff. But no, to be honest, man, Sauce's rookie season, he was probably the best corner in football. Sauce was rare. I think Terran was the best corner in this class, though. So we'll see. Pick 6 week 1. I think he's going to be awesome, but he's going to give up plays. Like we did our projected rookie roles. I said sub 60% completion percentage, 3 interceptions, and he'll give up some big plays. So maybe he's just getting his big plays out of the way. I'm cool with that. We got no speed at cornerback. I'm still worried. I'm not worried about that personally because, like I said, I think a lot of that scheme reliant, but I also don't feel like we have guys with slow play speed. And a lot of y'all hit me up, and actually we can start to move to that segment. A lot of y'all hit me up and were like, yo, man, hey, he ran faster at his pro day. Enos Rakestraw did. He was injured. And some of y'all were saying that in the chat too. And like that's never the end all be all with cornerback. It's always play speed. Your play speed isn't based on what's his 40. It's when you watch him, you walk away from it. But apparently his pro day, he ran a 4.56. I don't know what, maybe unless that's wrong. Let me see. 40 at his pro day was about 4.4. Rakestraw didn't feel healthy. Told pro day. Still, the Columbia Tribune partnered with a pool of reporters to garner approximation of his time. Put him in about 4.4 seconds. So I don't know. There's varying results. They're always unofficial. This one says 4.4, 4.40. I don't know. One says 4.56. So I don't know. I remember I didn't think his play speed was, I don't think it was like elite. It was just good. I thought it was just good. And it was actually better than I thought it was. But remember with Rakestraw, he's very quick. Short area quickness. Very quick. He has an awesome 10-yard split. And you can see as long as his transition footwork is clean, he's very quick in those spots, especially if he's doing more off coverage or if he's in the side. Remember, I mean, Brian Branch ran a 4.57, but he didn't really ever look slow last year. Like I would struggle to find plays where he looks slow. Some of that's the role that you're put in. Where do you play in your help? And just the understanding like, oh, I got to undercut this route, those kind of things. So like I said, I don't have a huge concern of it. I don't think if a tenth of a second is the difference, then your cornerback's probably a tick slow. You know what I mean? Like it can become a difference if you're a tick slow, but I don't know. I don't have a concern about it personally. Need Branch healthy. Yes, Branch is a game changer. Hide your wife, hide your kids. JMO burning everybody out here. Hey, that's what we love to see though, man. Continue to do it, JMO. Cook everybody, talk about it, get fired up. I ain't mad at you, man. Also, let's go take a look at the live streams. This is what we do now. This is our thing. We're sticking to, unless these get too long. Y'all start putting too many comments, man. I'm going to start skipping some of y'all, but it hasn't gone there yet. We are doing reactions to last live streams comment section to see what y'all said. Dion, do you think of us running more man? I absolutely think we're going to run more man coverage this year. Absolutely. I think that's a big reason why Branch at safety makes sense. I won't go back into that, but like the numbers I pointed out, 11 of 26 in man coverage last season. And I think the idea of Iffy being like your third safety would be awesome on paper. And that you kind of play that CD Deuce role, let him maybe play closer to the box, let him deal with some tight ends, downfield, picking up receivers. Brian Branch is going to handle that. Maybe if you have him in some like those 2-man looks where he can play half the field. I think we're going to play more man this year. I think it's going to benefit Jack Campbell specifically because he's going to be able to kind of live in his box underneath, pass off guys, live in the communication. But Brian Branch is going to be an X factor in that. But it also is just kind of going back to what Aaron Glenn wants to do. He's always wanted to play man. He's adjusted based on what he's had, but we still always been a pretty high man coverage team with Glenn. It's what he wants to do. And it goes back to really what Dan Campbell told us, which was he views man coverage as a run game. Like that's one of those things that you could just lean on as a team. You have to be able to do that. And I do think that even beyond what we have, we have man coverage built corners, and Rakestraw can do both. Rakestraw was awesome in zone 2, but he has man coverage traits. And same thing with Terran Arnold. Even though I think Arnold's better in man than he is in zone. I think Rakestraw is better across the board, man, zone, off man. I think Terran Arnold's better traits wise and a little bit, and not necessarily at the same level across the board, except for, press man, those kind of things. But it's also, and I use the example all the time, around the league, you have to be able to play man coverage. Like I think the best teams defensively can play man. It doesn't mean that has to be what they do, but to have the ability to go into it, I think is what can separate the best teams of football. It's, to me, what's going to be the difference this year when playing Green Bay. It's why we will beat Green Bay twice. Bold prediction. We're going to beat Green Bay twice because of that reason, because we're going to be able to sit in a man. It's why Jordan Love's 50% completion percentage first half. Second half, he was, for a time there, he was like 12 of 14 against zone. So he cooked us in zone, even though he still gave up some tough receptions in man. But being able to just go to man coverage, when Dallas did it to us, think about it. It was not our best offensive day. They played switch man. It's their own version of man coverage. They really play man coverage to kind of simplify it. I think about, New England when they're at their, but when they could just sit in man coverage. It's like, I know what's coming, but can we get open? And you just immediately put all the stress on, you may have an offensive genius, but if he can't beat that guy, it's going to be very difficult to get somebody open. So just kind of simplify it. We're going to make it difficult for you. And because you can lean on that, you can't just come into a game and expose our zone coverage over and over, because zone is always going to have holes. But man, I theoretically wouldn't have holes unless you get rub routes and things like that. So That's how the Lions view it. It's why it's necessary, in their opinion, to have that ability to do. So the fact that they also now have not only the fact that they want to play man, but they have really the personnel matched up with it is important. It's important. And we'll see where Rakestraw kind of comes along with that. It's another big reason why I think Branch at safety makes more sense, because you could potentially see some limitations at slot in man, even though I thought he looked good last year. But at safety, I think he'll actually excel in man coverage versus in the slot. And it's why guys like Amik, it's why you did what you did. We'll have to see. I'm curious on to see what Amik really looks like, more reps in man coverage, because he had some good, had some bad. He's not as fluid, but I'm curious to see what he looks like. Mosley, obviously built for man coverage as well. He could play zone, though. He did some cover 3 with San Fran. But, Dose, do you think it's possible we re-sign Jamo if he breaks out of the season? Heard someone say we couldn't afford him. So this would be year 3? Or is this? Yeah, this is year 3. If he breaks out this year, I don't know if we'd sign him after a year because we haven't done it. Like, we didn't do it with Aleem, and I feel like Aleem, you could say he could probably be re-signed by now. So, obviously it's a two-way street. If Jameson earns it, he will be re-signed. He will be re-signed. And I think that's why an Ayuk move isn't being made. It's why Lions are leaving that door open. It's also why, before we get to these comments, it's kind of the thing I said today. And I want to do a deeper dive on this because we've dove into parts of this. So I believe the Lions in a way are going to overtake the NFL. Like, straight up. I mean, I might be like on something here. It might be too late. And I might be talking crazy. I might be talking nonsense. But I think the Lions are on the track to completely overtake the NFL. And this is going to become a dynasty. I know I'm crazy. All right. Hear me out. It's training camp. Okay. I'm allowed to be crazy right now. Here's what I mean. The Lions are drafting so well. Obviously, there's a lot of factors like Ben Johnson's brought back. Like, does Ben Johnson stick around, those things? The Lions are drafting so well. And we did a show on this, I think, a couple weeks ago. So definitely go check it out. We looked at the numbers and how well Lions have actually drafted. I can even pull clips from it. That I think what's going to happen is, because the Lions are drafting so well and they're just playing into it, if Jameson pops, if Jameson has a massive season and he lives up to high expectations and he's awesome this year, and that happens because the opportunity for him to do that is there, like the window for him to take off is there. There's no one blocking his path. He's able to expand his role as much as he can, basically as good as he plays. If that happens, that again proves the Lions theory of saying, hey, we draft you, we invested in you, so we're going to give you the opportunity to take over that role, and then we'll pay our guys. And to me, it makes the Lions, in a way, very difficult. It's going to make the Lions very difficult to struggle to make decisions on who to resign, because they'll be able to purely see, like, it's not going to be, I don't know, actually, this guy did pretty good, but J-Mo's still here. What about the upside? We're not paying guys on upside. They're not a rookie. They're not paying legitimate draft picks on upside. They're going to pay them on what the heck they've seen. They got 4 years. We're going to pay you on that. We need to see it or you're not going to get paid. We're going to come stingy. And I think that's where the Lions are going to me, overtake the NFL really fast here. And it's going to go on for years with Brad, is because of the way that they're drafting, where if J-Mo pops, just like Derek Barnes, leaving the door open for him to find a role and kind of take over, I think it's going to be the same situation here with Jameson. And that's why they're not going out getting another big name receiver, because they know it's like think about what Brad said when he signed Jared, right? He's like, hey, we understood, like, we had this lined up. We were prepared for this. This wasn't something like, it's like, oh, we got to pay Goff. Let's figure out how much we can pay him. Like, we were prepared for this. Like, we prepared these things. And if you think about the Lions' worst, honestly, like, objectively, what they've done worst as a front office is going out and extending their own. Not their own from what we had seen, but unless you think Charles Harris, maybe a little bit of Tracy, but really guys that were here before. But extending their own has been kind of like their worst enemy. Tracy Rocker was injured. Charles Harris, it wasn't much of a big deal there, though. Romeo Quara never really played because of injury. Like, that's been the Lions where they've been the most inconsistent. But what they're going to do, I think, is kind of get rid of a lot of the fear of you're paying a guy on the upside, he's not actually worth that money, or he's not the player you thought he was, because they're leaving opportunities for guys to take over. Think about it. The Lions have not planted a guy on top of, like, hey, Antoine Green, we're never going to see what you are. Like, Antoine Green has tons of room to go become some part of this offense. Doesn't mean he's going to become number 3, but he has a room to become, like, an impact piece on this offense. And some teams, the 7th round pick, they may not let that happen. I think the only real true players that we didn't really allow that opportunity for was Chase Lucas, sort of. It wasn't like we had great slot. I mean, AJ Parker was starting at slot, but it was Chase Lucas and it was Jamar Jefferson, 2 7th round picks. But because we're giving these opportunities for these guys to take over, I'm going to read this to you guys just real quick, because I had this wrote down today. Think about what the Lions have under contract. Think about this, right? The Lions under contract next season. You think about the players they have. as I say that out loud, I don't have it written down. Where is it? Where did I write that? Okay, it's on my spread. Let me just pull it up on Excel. I got the Excel sheet. Lions have Goff and Hooker next year under contract. Monty Gibbs Vaki under contract. So they got quarterback check, running back check. Receiver, they'll have J-Mo, St. Brown, Green, and Khalif. Could have their top 4, arguably, but they have 3 really nice ones they like. And if J-Mo takes off, boom. You got your tight ends checked. Got all top 3 there under contract next season. Offensive line, you'll have Penei Sewell, your tackle. You'll have Graham Glasgow. You'll have Frank Ragnow, depending on, that's going to be the real key there is, what happens there. You'll have Manu. You'll have Colby Sorstel. You'll have Christian Mahogany, and you'll need a tackle. But Decker's already stated, like, hey, I'd like to be re-signed here. So that could potentially really help the Lions there, re-signing, even if he's not taking the top dollar out in the market. And they'll be willing, I think, to do that because they know that they need offensive line. And that's why they invested this year to potentially help the future as well. And last year. Linebacker, check. Like linebacker's good. They'll have Alex, they'll have Campbell, they'll have Malcolm, they'll have Jalen Reese-Maben. They'll be good. Defensive line, they'll have DJ Reader, they'll have Aiden Hutchinson, they'll have Josh Pascal, they'll have Mekhi Wingle, they'll have Broderick Martin. They could potentially have all of their starters. Hutch, Pascal, DJ Reader, could be 3 or 4 starters. Now you could work Wingle in and Martin, but you have to re-sign Aleem McNeil. So that's re-signing their own guy. Cornerback, they'll have Arnold, Rakestraw, Branch, Amik Robertson, Stephen Gilmore. That could be their 5 corners. And safety, they'll need either a number 2 or to re-sign Iffy, or they'll have to get, at the cornerback position more depth. That way Branch can be a safety. Point is, the Lions really have a lot of their key positions filled out. And to ease kind of the concern here, there was a graphic put together between 2000 and 2019 that looked at first-round picks, what have the highest hit rates in terms of getting an extension, a second contract. Center, offensive tackle, and guard have the highest hit rates. So the one position that's honestly the most that's something that could have to really be addressed. Offensive center, offensive tackle, and guard have the highest hit rates in getting a second deal if it's a first-round pick. Lions have a first-round pick. So even if that didn't come back, just based on the math of it, it's a good chance you're going to hit on a guy that's probably going to get a second contract. Then it goes linebacker, quarterback edge, those kind of things. So it's a good chance you get another deal. So again, and the guys to replace these spots aren't like elsewhere. They're here. It's just re-signing those players. So, the Lions are going to have bumps. They're going to miss deals. It happens. You sign a guy, injuries, are kind of uncontrollable to a point. But overall, man, the way I look at it, that's kind of a summarized version of why I think the Lions are about to take over the NFL. It's going to turn into a dynasty because they're drafting too well. And in a way, it really kind of minimizes a lot of the risk. And now you've already put your you've already got your quarterback. You know what I mean? Did I say Mosley? Okay, are you talking about cornerback? No, not Mosley. If I said Mosley, I apologize. Taron Arnold, Enos Rakestraw, Brian Branch, Amik Robertson, Stephen Gilmore. We'll have to see on Stephen Gilmore. Manuel Mosley coming back is huge. But Mosley, yes, that's next year. I'm naming guys next year. If you thought I was naming guys this year, I'm naming guys next year under contract. That's what I'm saying. There's not that many holes on this team. The only real holes are re-signing guys. That's what I'm saying. That's next year dudes under contract, okay? Yeah, that sounds like, oh, that's a starting team. That's what I'm saying. Hey, look, AI Joe Biden, I told you it's 11 o'clock. I'm gonna sound crazy. All right, let's go to Super 4. You're absolutely correct. But when I say dynasty, I mean in terms of, it's like I said at the end of that last championship game, because I agreed. My whole thing is get into the playoffs. We'll see what happens. You can't really predict. It gets crazy. It's a one-game scenario. NFL is just like you could be bounced around one. You could go to Super Bowl, make a run, and then it never happens again. But I do believe that consistency in a league that is very difficult to find consistency, the amount of turnover you get year to year to year, there's no consistency in the NFC East and who wins the conference division. 7 new teams this season for the playoffs. In a league that really struggles to find consistency, and that's how they won it, the Lions will be a dynasty in the sense of consistency, a consistent playoff team that can win double-digit games every single year, in my opinion, because of that strategy, because they're drafting so well. And I get it, like J-Mo, we can't afford J-Mo. You will be able to afford J-Mo because you just won't pay another big receiver. And that's why the running backs, you're investing there. There's going to be tough decisions you're going to have to make, but it's just simply Lions are just going to have to be okay, look, we can't pay you. You were solid. Or you had some injuries, we're not giving you that number. Hey, go get more elsewhere. But we want to win here. We're going to win here. We only have so much money to give out. We just can't give you that number. And if you want us to go, go. If you want us to take less here, you stay here. Otherwise, we're going to go back into the draft and hit it again. If the Lions keep drafting like they do, obviously you'll lose some of the top-end picks, which is going to be the downside. But at the same time, you already now have a core that you didn't have before. So you built your core up already. So if you're hitting on late picks, that'll be the next challenge. But if they're doing that, bro, I'm telling y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all. I don't know. I could be crazy, but I don't think I am. Those it seems like the Micro Machines commercial guy sounds so it talks about who's the Micro Machines guy. Hey, my man, kneecap biting with the Motor City Light. My man's in the building. How you doing, man? It's good to see you in here. Yo, I don't know what commercial that is. A Micro Machine. Wait, is that what that says? Micro Machines. Yeah, I don't even know what that is. McNeil will be a monster, bro. And McNeil's like a dog, dude. And this is why I don't think McNeil gets enough credit, man. Is like, yo, McNeil's ability to play nose, defensive tackle, play these different techniques in the interior allows the line to say, let's put Levi in there with him. Let's put Broderick Martin at nose tackle, make him a 3. Like they drafted the guy and said, we're going to draft him. Brad said he's the last pure nose tackle on the board. But now because he can literally play everywhere and because he lost some weight and he got slimmer and he still held his ground, he's played the run really well. They can put him out there with anybody they want to at this point. They can just make it work. I think ideally they like him more as like a 3 technique, honestly, because he is a little bit slimmer and there were times where he did get pushed off the spot, but he's still able to handle both. But I think that's where they like him. They ideally like him as a 3 tech, get on the shade of a guard. And that's why but I think that's why they like, hey, let's go get a big nose tackle. And that's why let's go sign another nose tackle because we want someone that's going to handle that dirty work so we can really allow Lee McNeil to get the one-on-ones on guards and deal with tackles. Same kind of thing with now Levi. Like, hey, why can Levi kick outside? Well, because you have a big nose tackle in the interior. Like Levi can play DN. Levi can play a 4-eye, can play a 3 because you're going guard to A gap, right? You're going to B to A gap. You're pushing gap to gap. And he can do that because you have a big time nose tackle that can handle all those combo blocks and double teams he's going to see. And if you have that piece, now you open up flexibility elsewhere. So I think a lot of that also is based on knowing that a Lee McNeil and how good he is, like, hey, let's get someone next to it, but he can also just play everywhere. So you have so much flexibility. The game he had against Giant, that was it, man. That was it. I think he had 10 pressures in that game. Dose has that correct. Lines are being built the right way. It's incredible. There will be time when they have 2 package players, better draft picks, maintain. Absolutely. That's going to be a tough time. But yeah, like, you're going to have to find a way to sell high. TJ Hawkinson. Like, let's be real. They did. Like, hey, I think you just got hit with an ad. So if you did, I apologize, but you may have. So I'm going to stay here for a second. But yeah, TJ Hawkinson, like, you sold high. He sold at the right time. So, I mean, I don't want to see those things happen, but yeah, sometimes it has to happen. And I mean, you look at the way it turned out, like we saved a lot of money. We got Sam Laporta. You could argue we got a better tight end out of it. And look, Hawkinson's a dog, but you sold high at the right time. He's proven that he could do that. And even though he hated it all at the time, it worked out. And it was the opposite of when we traded away Tate when things kind of just fell apart. And this time when he traded the guy away, we actually got better, which was, it's not because Hawkinson left that we got good, but it's just saying, you made it work. It was beautiful time. He nailed that one. So we call the Packers a dynasty with 2 Super Bowls, 33 years of Hall. Hey, yo, facts. I would say this though. To that point, calling the Packers a dynasty is kind of what I'm saying of why the Lions will be a dynasty. Consistently a playoff team. It's like what the Packers started. Let me get my book out. Hold up. What the Packers started, right? With Ron Wolf. I know, you're like, what is that doing there? Hey, look, man, got to learn up on your history. What the Packers started with Ron Wolf, man, trading for Brett Favre, becoming a consistent playoff team, a team that like wouldn't get the big free agents, that kind of thing. That's what I mean with the Lions, right? Like, I think the Super Bowls are tough because it's just hard. I mean, I guess unless you're Kansas City, you cheat every year. No, I'm playing. But no, seriously, like, it's hard, right? There's so many variables to just get to that spot, injuries and all those things. But being able to be a consistent playoff team, I mean, at this point, I feel good about our backup quarterbacks. I think we could keep winning. Shoot, we proved like year 1 or year 2? It was year 1, I think. When Goff wasn't out there, we could win with a backup quarterback. I don't think we did, but we were like, we're actually competitive. I can remember when Stafford went down, we played Dallas, and it was like, this is a disaster. But we proved like, yo, we're actually like still competitive. And we weren't a good team then, but we were still competitive without having Goff. Like, we're not relying on the quarterback. So I think because of that, he helps us. But because of that, like, you're going to be a consistent playoff team. That's what I mean by saying that. Let me get that book. I'm covering that book up, by the way. You can't see that if you're in here. It's just here. Yeah, well, that's true. That's what Laporta is good. I mean, Hawk did have that big play because he had that big game in Seattle and he like took off. It was like, what the heck was that? It was like the best. You have Con Skipper at backup tackle. I do at left tackle. based on what I've seen, like only going off what I've seen, I do because he actually played well last season. Like I gotta be fairness to him. He stepped in a tackle. He was good. Curious thing though about tackle, obviously Colby's getting the snaps there, and I love that. Like I was hyped about that yesterday. I was like, I love this, man. I love this. Like he's capable of doing it. I love it. But it's also Connor Galvin, a name to keep an eye on. Like obviously Manu's kind of the development piece there, but Connor Galvin, if Manu's taking snaps at left tackle, then that means Connor Galvin is likely taking snaps at right tackle. And I know it's very unlikely that he makes the team, but certain guys have to pop up at some point during the season. Connor Galvin actually played pretty good football last year in a very small sample size in the preseason at left tackle. And he had some real weaknesses, but he minimized them. He didn't really notice them too much, especially as a pass protector. If he could go to right tackle and continue to show like I can improve some of the clear weaknesses here, maybe I could open up more of movement I can get as a run blocker, and I can actually handle right tackle. Guy that can play both tackle positions, and he puts back-to-back good preseasons together, especially if he gets more reps this year. He may not, but if he can, someone to keep an eye on in that mix. Kind of a forgotten name to keep an eye on. But yeah, for me, also a lot of this is Colby Source still. Like a lot of it's going to be the growth of Colby. If Colby doesn't grow, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But having Colby kind of in your back pocket, if he continues to grow like I think he can as a backup tackle, and I think that's what he can be, a guy that can play everywhere but center basically, and maybe left tackle. Having that means that I can then just put Sewell at left tackle, and I can just put whoever I want at right tackle, so Colby can actually fit in because Sewell's just that darn good. You paid him for that reason. How can the Vikes are in bad shape right now? He left to go and win more games. Yeah, man, I feel for them, man. The injuries and stuff that they've had to deal with is awful. And then, I don't know. I mean, he sounds happy there, though. He seems like he's happy there. So I'm happy for him, man. Hopefully he is happy there. Happy for him. Hopefully he's happy there. And, he's living his life, man. Hopefully he's having a good time over there. Like, I never had like any ill towards Hawk. Hawk was dope. Hawkson was cool, man. We still got Hawk back there, I think. Oh no, Hawk ain't back there no more. But Hawk's up there actually. So is Big Play Slay. But hey, it was a business move, right? And it was weird him talking about that because it was like he didn't expect it, and then it happened. It's like, okay, it's kind of crazy. So obviously he jumped on the timing because he got an offer. Someone shooting at Dose. He dunked quick. I dunked quick. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? What you mean? I'm so hyped, family. I'm sorry I had to move away. Where'd you move to? Where'd you move? Like, I need the address. I need the zip code. Maybe your social. No, I'm playing. Where'd you move to? Hey, yo, stop. Hot cause interceptions. How do you do that? All right. I ain't gonna. By not trying. Oh, man. Okay. This don't need to. All right. Hawk had good play. Bro, Hawk made plays too. Y'all remember that game winner he had against Atlanta? Come on now. When Stafford was here, y'all remember that? Come on. Hey, remember the first game he had against Arizona? He was like, what? My man had the most dynamic first game of all time as a tight end. Okay, let's read these comments and then we'll get out of here. Let me see what the comment section's talking about from our last stream. Again, once the show ends, man, make sure you drop some comments below. Y'all been doing that, man. I appreciate it. It's really cool to see those in there. That just this kind of random thing that we started doing, which is just reacting to comments. People are like doing it now, and I think they're doing it just for this, which is cool. And then you guys pop up in the chat. So my man, LeCron Flames, like LeBron James. Okay, you got the Calvin Johnson picture. My brother, you need a better camera. You know what? You know what it is? You know what it is? The issue is, right? I went back and I watched the last show, like the beginning. It was like blurry for some reason. And I don't know if it looks like that now or not, right? I think the focus was not focused. Like, I don't have it set up where I can like tap and focus right now because we're just, this was quick. But I don't think it's focused. I don't know if it wasn't, or I think the quality just came out like blurry for some reason. I don't know what was going on. Maybe you had your quality down or something. I don't know. Maybe it fixed itself. But I looked at that and I was like, bro, reading that comment is frustrating because, bro, that camera, hey, yo, that camera like the most expensive thing in this room. But anyway, that's on me because I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, bro, you can buy the nicest basketball hoop, but if you can't shoot, it don't matter. That thing's still 10 foot tall, dog. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I hear you, but that's probably more on me than the camera. I got you, camera. I'm backing up my camera here. But nah, it's funny though. That's funny. Nothing looked good. Okay, that's actually good though. It is good that it's not doing that. Wait, Goff threw it 45 yards. He did throw it 45 yards. Goff did throw it 45 yards. He's capable. Do you know the English? Okay, I don't know what these. Okay, we're just gonna. You know what? We shouldn't have done that. Yo, guys. Okay. Oh, that was a response. Okay, I was about to. All right. Okay. Yeah. Look, bro. Like, I just hyped up how good the segment was. That was awful. I'm sorry y'all had to do. We should have just kept reading the chat. Leave better comments. Leave some good comments, or we'll just not do that segment. It's fine. We don't have to do it anymore. That was not it. We've had better. Well, see, here's the thing. We've had back-to-back poor reading comments, or at least 2 of our last 3. That was a disaster. And the other one, I couldn't comprehend anything I was reading. Like if you guys weren't here in the beginning, like I said, my sugar like had dropped, and I didn't realize till after the show. My boy, I couldn't even read what the comments. I couldn't comprehend like basic comments. It was a nightmare, and I thought they were very confusing. And then when I revised, I was like, these were not hard to read. I just could not process anything. So anyway, I think we hit on everything. I appreciate y'all joining, man. I'm assuming we're going to have notes from tomorrow. I think they have practice tomorrow, maybe shorter, but I think it's actually supposed to be longer, like 2 hours. So maybe we'll get more notes. We didn't have a lot today from what I was able to gather. Saturday, I plan on being there. That's the opener. Monday, I plan on being there. So I don't know beyond that really, but should have some content then. All I'll say is I just don't know how that content's going to come along. Like it could be me literally in the parking lot live on my phone. I don't want that to be the case, but it's very possible it is, because I'll have to go from, and so we're going to drive. I'm going to drive to camp in the morning. I'm going to try to shoot it, which best case might be like, hey, because it's like an hour and a half for me doing it from there, because then I got to go from there to football practice. So it's going to be difficult to like do anything that's like much better than that, but I'll have my notes. I take notes as we're standing there. So we'll have notes. It'll be fine. We'll make it work. Let's put it this way. TJ was advertised as extra run blocker. Okay. No, I mean, look, man, y'all are wrong. Let's move on to positive note. Okay. I appreciate y'all being here, man. Have a great rest of your night. Thought people could go to camp till 27th. So yeah, the 27th, Saturday. That's when I'm going. Well, people couldn't go. Yes, the 27th. 27th is when I'm going, Saturday. That's the Lions Loyal Day. And then tomorrow, I'm not going to be there tomorrow. I haven't been the last couple days. It's just that's the, what's it called? That's just the media members that are there. I'll be coaching. I'll be at camp August 11th. Oh, okay. I think I might be there too. I'll see you then. Are you coaching the special teams? I'm not coaching the special teams. If I could kick a football, I think I could add value there, truly. You know what's funny? I was like, yo, I think you're supposed to like kick it like this, right? Yeah, I'm not a special teams guy. All right. But honestly, like part of me kind of wants to learn it because I feel like it's a unique skill. Like if you can coach like kicking and things like that, like, bro, I can't kick a ball and I can't even like try right now because my leg. But even if it's probably better that I can't, that I can use that excuse. Because if I went out there and I was like, here, let me show you how to do it. It'd be over. Good thing is we have some athletes that can just kick the ball. So it just keeps it simple. I don't know what I'm doing, but that might be something that actually I've thought about that. Like, man, maybe I should just like learn how to like the techniques or something. I could just try to teach them because, you know, that's valuable, man. That seems valuable. Like if you're like, hey, how does Jake Bates, like, what is Jake Bates' technique and stuff? I have no idea. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. Jake Bates is the only guy that knows, I guess. I don't know. How does Justin Tucker do it? Maybe someone needs to figure that out. Figure out what Justin Tucker's doing and copy him. Why has nobody copied him? We copy all these quarterbacks. We got Peyton Manning talking about quarterbacks. Nobody talks about the Justin Tuckers. Nobody's like, hey, look how he kicked the ball there. Like, I don't know. Maybe we should do that. Can Dose dunk, though? Yo, there's 2 Patrick profile pictures back to back here. I thought this was the same person. This is actually a moment in history. Yeah, this is actually pretty amazing that I'm seeing this. Now, right now, I can't. I mean, look, Dro, I have videos of doing it, But I truly believed, like, and this is, we're gonna leave on this. I truly believed I was on the process of being able to get my highest vertical that I ever had, and then I hurt myself. I was like way lighter than I had ever been. That had been a long time, losing weight and stuff like that. Actively, bro, I was hitting the gym every night to go shoot around, preparing for a league, and I was like, bro, I'm gonna dunk in this league. That was my goal. I was like, I'm gonna dunk one time. It could be ugly, but I'm gonna do it. And then I got hurt. So I'm hoping that, when we're good here, I'll be back to doing that. But it's like weird because now I understand that whole idea of like, not having like the trust in yourself, like when you're thinking about it, even if it's not hurting, I wouldn't know because I wouldn't have the trust to actually try to jump off it. I would just be scared that it would buckle or something on me. How is Matthew Betts doing? Honestly, today they said that he didn't flash very much. Him and James Houston. James, had some inconsistencies there, I guess, but they said that he didn't really flash very much, but he did get second team reps at Sam Backer today. So that is that's a real battle. It feels like there are a couple of real battles that are there. Lions fumble so hard in 2014. Could have had Sue and Donald. Yeah, that would have been insane. Yeah, that would have been crazy. Who'd they take that year? Was that Ebron? Oof. Yeah, that was. But yeah, anyway, we're going to end it here, man. I appreciate y'all joining. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see y'all probably tomorrow again. Probably at night again. That's kind of been the thing that's working, man. We had a good turnout today, man. So, yeah, expect more. And, check out that Bleacher Report episode. I mean, it's kind of weird now because it was for practice, but links in community tab. If y'all see it, let me know. And if you could, I'll let y'all know. We have a lot of Bleacher Report shows in August, a lot of preseason stuff, a lot of prediction stuff, a lot of rosters, predictions. So a lot of fun stuff over there that are only 30-minute shows, so they don't get super long. Just stay tuned because every time I do a show, I drop the link. I'm going to try to tell y'all beforehand. August 1st is our next Bleacher Report show. August 1st, I believe it's at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I believe it's at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. That's our next one. That may be our roster prediction, actually. So August 1st, Thursday, roster prediction. Bleacher Report, link will be in the community tab that day, right before I go live. All right, we out. I'll see y'all then, or sooner then, but